to show that just because you're little and you're a kid or a teen or whatever, that you can still be fired up for God just like the adults can.
When you're united for Christ, you're always ready to share the word with other people.
Hi everyone, my name is Harmony.
I'm Jordan,
and we are a part of the Ignite Youth Ministry. Thank you for joining us for our Ignite Sunday live service. Please be sure to like, comment, and share. Also, encourage a friend to be a part of our wonderful worship services.
Today's a new day, but there is no sunshine. Nothing but clouds, and it's dark in my heart, and it feels like a cold night. Today's a new day, but tell me, where are my blue skies? Where is the love and the joy that you promised me? Tell me it's alright. I almost gave up, but a power that I can't explain fell from heaven like a shower down. Whoa, I smile, even though I hurt, see I smile. I know God is working, so I smile. Even though I've been here for a while, I smile, smile. It's so hard to look up when you look down. I sure would hate to see you give up now. You look so much better when you smile.
Today's a new day, but there is no sunshine. Nothing but clouds, and it's dark in my heart, and it feels like a cold night. Today's a new day, but tell me, where are my blue skies?
Where they at, y'all?
Where is the love and the joy that you promised me? Tell me it's alright. I almost gave up, but a power that I can't explain fell from heaven like a shower now.
I smile, even though I hurt, see I smile. I know God is working, so I smile. Even though I've been here for a while, I smile, smile. It's so hard to look up when you look down. I sure would hate to see you give up now. You look so much better when you smile.
Smile for me. Smile for me. Can you just smile for me?
Yeah, and my people say, oh, oh, oh. You look so much better when you, oh, oh, oh. You look so much better when you, oh, oh, oh. You look so much better when you, oh, oh, oh. You look so much better when you, oh, oh, oh. You look so much better when you, oh, oh, oh. You look so much better when you, oh, oh, oh. You look so much better when you, oh, oh, oh. You look so much better when you smile. I almost gave up, but a power that I can't explain fell from heaven like a shower down. Like now. Oh, I smile. Even though I hurt, see I smile. I know God is working, so I smile. Even though I've been here for a while, I smile, smile. It's so hard to look up when you look down. I sure would hate to see you give up now. You look so much better when you smile. So much better when you, oh, oh, oh. You look so much so much better when you oh oh oh. You look so much better when you oh oh oh. You look so much better when you oh oh oh. You look so much better when you smile. So smile, just smile.
Can you smile for me? Yeah.
God is good. Yeah, I see you smiling. Who taught the sun where to stand in the morning? And who told the ocean you can only come this far? And who showed the moon where I till evening? Whose words alone can catch a falling star?
Well, I know my Redeemer lives. I know my Redeemer lives. Let all creation testify. Let this life within me cry. I know my Redeemer lives. Yeah, the very same God that spins things in orbit runs to the weary, the worn, and the weak, and the same gentle hands that hold me when I'm broken. They conquer death to bring me victory. Now I know my Redeemer lives. I know my Redeemer lives.
They say the angels marvel at why you love us so much, but people down here say you don't love us enough. They say the atheists look at the heavens and don't believe that you're there. If I'm being honest, I don't feel worthy to take a breath of your air. I don't contemplate what angels and men think about you. I wish I could be like you, but I don't know how to. You are everything that I'm not. And God, I'm trying my best to follow you with everything that I've got. But sometimes in this world of fury, it's hard to focus. I'm trying to keep my eyes on the God of David, of Daniel, and Moses. You rained down fire on Sodom and your hands split the oceans. You welcome home sinners with arms always open. You created the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh. You created me in your image and you changed my life in a second. You formed the stars with your breath and the waters with your spirit. I'm drawn to the sound of your melody whenever I hear it. Your choir is the wind and your voice is the thunder. You gave grace to my sins and lifted the noise I was under. You light up the sky with lightning bolts of your power. Your majesty stretches above the clouds. My God is a tower. Your throne is somewhere out past this earthbound gravity. I was born with a curse of depravity that was passed to me. But you didn't expect me to be perfect. That's something you never asked of me. It took the blood of your son to rescue me from this tragedy. The world might think I'm crazy and my critics might laugh at me. I just hope one day they meet the God who died for them too. They know not what they do, just followers of Satan who lied to them too. So they can mock and sneer and call the things of my God laughable. But you go beyond the limits of the finite natural. You reach past the infinite and into eternity. And like the fire of Nebuchadnezzar, you walk into the flames and you burn for me. And I'm trying to be who you want me to be. I look past the heavens and I see the outline of your majesty. Heavy is your call on my life and the torch that you passed to me. I'm just trying to be faithful to you, God, my King. Glory to the Most High. Someday I'll join with the angels and sing. But for now, my mind can't comprehend your glory, can it? I won't understand you fully until I'm off this planet. And if I'm being honest, I look forward to leaving this place. I'm an astronaut born to be with you. Down here, I'm misplaced. Up there, I'm at home. In glory, down here, I'm disgraced. But if the world hates me, I have to remember it hated you first. You offer living water at the well to be traded for thirst. You walked on water and you turned water into wine. You calmed the storms and you took the sins that were mine. Someday every knee will bow and every tongue will confess. Reality will set in for the sinner like a gun to the head. You don't have to be from Moscow to play Russian roulette. Every day people risk life after death, but you offer a way out for flawed people like me. Sons and daughters of the King is what you've called people to be. You are fashioning my hands for battle and my life for war. For the first time I can see, my sight's restored. And out of these ashes I will rise to tell others about you. And you will lift me up and speak through me when I don't know how to. So use me, God, and speak through my weakness. With everything in me, I'll follow you, Jesus. And someday I'll fall to the ground when we meet. I'll live this life in hopes of placing crowns at your feet. And I can picture you there with angels in flight. Until then, you've called me to run into the night. And into the darkness, I'll continue to go. And into your word, I'll continue to grow. You are worthy of every demon that comes against me. In your arms, I am strong. In your river, you rinse me. So take my life and use me, Lord. Your faith is my shield. Your truth is my sword.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Tyrone Smith, the youth minister here at the Church Without Walls. I'm really excited to actually get this thing going today. We're actually going to dive into a particular series that's really going to challenge you. And it's going to challenge you in such a way that you cannot run, you cannot hide, because what? God will find you. You can't run, I'm sorry, I digress. I was about to start rapping, you know what I mean? Because back in the day, I thought I was a rapper, so I was about to kind of put a nice little rhyme scheme together to kind of pull it all together. But I think that the text in the series is enough to know to give you a clear image and picture about what it means to truly, hear. We all have the capacity to hear for the most part, but if you can't hear, that's something that, I pray for. But if you're willing to hear as Jesus speaking to your ear, to open up your mind and your heart, will you receive? We're going to kick off a series titled, Can You Hear Me Now? Yes, can you hear me now? And what we're going to do, we're going to break down moments and times and instances where Jesus actually specifically spoke to individuals, where he called out their name. He called out their name not once, but twice. And think about this for a moment.
we're going to break down specific characters in the Bible who Jesus called twice. And think about this for a moment. When you think about, like, can you hear me now? And when you want somebody to actually hear you, to actually gain their attention, you like do a couple of things. You talk like loud or like, hey, or you speak like firm, or you do whatever you can in regards to use your voice to get their attention so they can actually hear you. And we're gonna break down moments and times in the Bible where God called individuals twice. And think about this for a moment. When he called them twice, he like really wanted to gain their attention. When he called them twice, it was because he like cared for them. When he called them twice, it was because he actually knew them. When he called them twice, it was because he had like an intentional relationship with them. Think about that. Can you hear me now? And what we're going to do, we're going to actually analyze the story of Paul. We're going to analyze the story of Paul. And before he was Paul, as you all know, he was Saul. And when he was Saul, there was a moment in the time in his life where he actually didn't really care about believers. He didn't really care about Christians. He didn't care about those who actually follow God. He was pretty much all about killing, destroying, antagonizing, beating, brutalizing anybody that believed. And so here it is. You probably like actually wondering, how can this particular man right here be qualified for the call? And I know you may be wondering that. Now, if he was once called Saul, and yet we find out eventually, as we're going to read, all of what he did to establish churches and just project and proclaim the gospel, but yet, what made him qualified? And before I actually get into that, I'm going to read a couple of job descriptions. And while you're on the other side of the camera virtually, I want you to try to think about what other job descriptions that I'm actually like, reading in regards to the qualifications. Qualifications. Knowledge of proper spelling, grammar, and punctuation. Basic accounting skills. Knowledge of Microsoft software. Ability to perform multiple tasks in an efficient manner. Friendly, welcoming, awesome attitude. Ability to record notes during meetings. Can you guess what job description is that? A secretary. Next job qualification. Knowledge of traffic and highway safety rules and regulations. Vision in both eyes. Ability to relate to students, parents, and school system personnel. Can you guess? Job description? School bus driver. Give you one more. Qualifications of this job. Knowledge of arithmetic, algebra, geometry, calculus, statistics, and their applications. Knowledge of circuit boards, processors, chips, software, including applications of programming. Knowledge of prediction, physical principles, laws, their interrelationships, and applications to understanding fluid, material, atmospheric dynamics, and mechanical, electrical, atomic, subatomic structures, processes. Knowledge of the practical application of engineering, science, and technology together. This includes applying principles, techniques, procedures, and equipment to design the production of various goods and services. Think about it. Nuclear physicist. I know you all wouldn't have guessed that one. But then think about this. When you think about all these particular job qualifications and all these things that an individual must be able to do to be effective in their job, it boils down to this. You have to be qualified. There are some specific qualifications that you must have to actually carry out a specific job. And what we're going to do, we're going to break down the text in regards to when God called Saul, Saul. And when he was Saul, God called him, but he had a great job. He was made, he was built for this. But when you think about his personality, when you think about him as an individual, how can he physically align with making the difference in the world that we live in regards to impacting the world for non-believers? Think about that. And when you think about your life, you're probably wondering, right now, since we have all this time due to the pandemic where you're quiet and you're sitting still, you're probably wondering, what is it that God would actually have for me to do as an individual? Am I even qualified? And some of you all may believe and feel that you're even not qualified to do whatever it is God may have you to do, because why? You're stuck. I can assure you, God has designed each and every one of us for a specific purpose and reason. I mean, I can think about my own life. Growing up in the inner city of Houston, mom didn't finish middle school, dad didn't finish high school. People told me I wouldn't accomplish or do or be anything in life. Think about that for a moment. To have a dream to even go to college, people were like, dude, your mom didn't finish middle school, your dad didn't finish high school. That is not your reality. But to go to college, not just to, but to go to college and through college and graduate. Baylor University, yay, Sycamore Bears. Okay, I digress, don't hate me. But then they have dreams to go to the NFL. Like, yes, to the NFL. And for people to say, come on, dude, you're too small, you're too skinny, you got a big head, you cry all the time, you're not good enough, you're not big enough, you're not fast enough, you're not cute enough. I'm like, what does cute have to do with you? You are a helmet anyway. Hater. But yet, God had a purpose for me. So when you think about being qualified and look at where you at right now, you may not see what God may actually have for you, but it's about you being in tune to what it is he will have for you. And so what we're going to do in this series, we're actually going to break down moments and times where God spoke to individuals twice. People who others saw as like, he or she can't be used. And you may think, I can't be used. But understand this, God truly has a purpose and a plan for you in your life. But the key is, are you willing to actively listen to hear what it is that he will actually have for you? And so what we're going to do, we're actually going to break down this particular text out of Acts. And we're going to give you specific points of focus that you can use in regards to having a relevant, real, genuine, authentic understanding about what it means to truly hear from God based on Saul's story before he became Paul. And remember this, when you look at his life right now, you may be like, man, his life does not align with what I think and what I believe and what I feel his duties will be in regards to be the game changer that God has called him to be. And yet and still, some of you all may be in the same space and place where you feel less than a person in regards to doing and being all that God can possibly use you to do and be. All right, so let's break the scripture text down right now to have a deeper understanding about my man Saul, who became Paul. All right, and so as we go to the text, this is what we're going to read. It reads, as I was on the road approaching Damascus, about noon, a very bright light from heaven suddenly shone down on me. I fell to the ground, and I heard a voice saying to me, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Saul, Saul, as we see right here in the text, this is the moment in time where God is actually reaching out to Saul. He didn't call his name once. He didn't call his name 1.5 times. He called his name twice. And he called his name twice because he wanted to gain his attention. And so you may be thinking about this right now. With everything we have going on, has there been a moment or a time in your life right now where God is trying to get your attention? Are you in tune to what it is that he actually may have for you beyond your current state and situation right now as an individual? I truly feel and believe that God has called us to be great, but I need you to recognize your greatness because you're called to take a stance to be all that God has called you to be beyond your current state and situation. And as we go through this particular text, we're going to see all of what Saul had to endure in regards to recognizing the purpose, the mission, and the call for his life. Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? And before I go on this particular text, is there anything that you're doing in your life right now that you may have been challenged by God? Challenged in the sense to stop doing what you're doing because it's so much greater that you can do. And I think the biggest thing that I want you all to realize as young people and as individuals today, when you think about this particular series, and can you hear me now, is God calling you to do so much greater than what you're doing right now. Because I can assure you, as we go through this particular text, there was a lot that Saul did. There was a lot that he did that he eventually regretted, but yet at the same time, it was setting the stage for him to do such a great work. And when you think about life, and when you think about battles, when you think about circumstances, when you think about struggles, everything that we deal with and go through can be an experience, right, that we can use as a testimony to impact somebody else's life. It's a testament about how awesome and glorious our Father is. And so as we see when we go through this particular text, God calls out to Saul. He says, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? And here it is, he has this bright light. And with this bright light, I'm sure he was shocked. I'm sure he was amazed. Think about this. He's riding on a horse, right? From Jerusalem to Damascus, a 6-day journey. He's on this journey because he's intentional about fulfilling and denying individuals that believe in Christ. He's so intentional and passionate about what his work is called to do in regards to persecuting Christians. He's willing to take a 6-day journey on the back of a horse. And on his way to Damascus, he sees a bright light. This bright light shines on him, and he falls. And when he falls, I'm sure that he wonders. I'm sure he wondered, like, what's really going on in this moment, in this time? And then you have this bright light, and all of a sudden, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? And Saul's response was, who are you? Lord, I asked. It's logical that his first question would be, who are you? If a voice called my name in a bright light, I'm going to actually wonder, who's calling me? And think about this. This is his first experience with actually hearing from God. With everything he had been doing, everything he had been going through, all the Christians he had been persecuting, all the Christians that he had been killing, he hears his voice on his way to Damascus, where he's planning to kill, persecute, beat, do whatever to those who believe. And think about this for a moment. The response, Jesus, whom you are persecuting. See, Paul didn't believe that Jesus was the Son of God. Saul didn't believe that Jesus rose again from the dead. Saul didn't believe that Jesus could forgive sins. This is why he was killing Christians. Saul didn't want what he thought in regards to what he believed to go out in the world. He believed that everything against that was said and stated in regards to the promise and the persecution and the raising of Jesus Christ all was a lie. So he didn't want that to manifest. So what he was willing to do, he was willing to go out and persecute and kill anybody that believed in Jesus. And so here it is. He has a logical question. Who are you, Lord? Because based on all the different things he heard, this was appropriate in regards to God being willing to reach those who were in desperate situations. So he wondered. And when you think about this for a moment, based on where you are right now in your life, has there ever been a moment of clarification where you thought one thing and those things that you thought really wasn't the righteous thing or wasn't the best thing for you? You had a moment of clarity. Think about that. And so what we see right here in the text is that Paul is having a moment of clarity. So Saul had a choice: either believe this new truth before him or reject it. Either believe or reject. He can either admit that he was wrong and believe Jesus is who he says he is, or he can continue to believe the lie and go on living like nothing was any different. And so when you think about your life right now, you're either in one or two places. You're like Saul, where you have your own way of thinking. And your way of thinking pretty much is what you believe, despite what others say, feel, or think about you as an individual. It's like you're there. Or you have that moment of clarity where you have to take a step back and like wonder, based on this experience, based on this situation, I may need to change it up. Think about that for a moment. That's a tough thing to do. So here it is, you have Saul from Tarshish, who was raised a certain way and exposed to certain things and did things his way based on how he was raised, but yet he heard something, but he's just like, nah, that can't be true. I'm going to despise anybody, anyone, any situation, any city, any town, any family that believes the lie that I believe to be a lie, but you know and I know it's not a lie, but yet he's stuck and he's living this way. And he has that moment of clarity. What about you? Can you get to a point in place and space when you have that moment of clarity, where you inwardly look at yourself and see, okay, God, I hear you, but are you willing to move when you hear? Are you going to stay stuck? Or are you going to move to being unstuck? I truly feel and believe that God has called us all to do great things. But we have to be intentional in our actions. We have to be willing to put self aside, right? And think about the great purpose and mission that God may have for you. Can you hear me now? The first qualification to be used by God is to believe he is who he say he is. So Saul chose to believe Jesus and admit that he was wrong. And then Jesus asked him the next logical question. Here it is. What shall I do? Think about that. What shall I do? And the voice replied, I am Jesus, the Nazarene, the one you are persecuting. The people with me saw the light and didn't understand the voice speaking to me. So there were people who was actually with him, right? They saw the light, but they didn't hear the voice. They saw the light, but they didn't hear the voice. God didn't call the others. He was calling Saul. And when you think about your life right now, there may be people in your circle, right? They can see the shine on you. They can see the glow on you, but yet they don't hear the voice. Only you hear the voice. Only you hear the voice because why? You have that personal relationship with God. And God has a personal relationship with you because he cares for you and he loves you. But yet, it's about you realizing, understanding, and knowing that. And think about the people who are in your circle. Yeah, they can see that shine and they can see that glow. But even within that, how much more can you do in regards to being a greater impact in their lives? Think about that for a moment. God may be calling you to make an impact in this world that we live in. And there are people around you, they may see it some of the time, but not all the time. But what's holding you back from being all in? You've heard me say it before. Just because you're young, don't take it for granted. Why wait for tomorrow when you can do it today? Think about that. Why wait for tomorrow when you can do it today? I can assure you there's a great work that God desires to do in your life. But you have to be in tune to receive whatever it is that he will actually have for you. Do you hear him? But do you follow through with the instructions he's giving you? I asked, what should I do? That was his question. And the Lord told me, get up and go into Damascus, and there you will be told everything you are to do. Everything you are to do. So when you hear from God, there's a specific purpose and plan that he will have for you in your life. But I think the big thing is actually realizing, understanding, and knowing. And once you realize, understand, and know, can you fulfill it? I think that you can. And I told you, I don't know if I told you all before about the young man named Caleb that I met a few years ago back in Arkansas. And it amazed me that when I met Caleb at this particular camp I was speaking at, Caleb told me that he was called to do inner city ministry. Inner city ministry. And here it is, Caleb. He's a Christian, he's a believer. At the time, I think Caleb was maybe like about 16 years old, white from Arkansas, called to do ministry. And I asked him, I said, Caleb, man, you're called to do ministry. That's good. I say, but ministry in what capacity? He said, I feel that God has really called me to do inner city ministry. I'm like, okay, here it is. You have Caleb. He's a Christian believer. He loves the Lord. 16, 17 years old. He's white. And here it is, inner city. So he feel led to go in the inner city, some of the most underrepresented, impoverished communities in the nation, and minister to people. Not only any inner city community, but he said he felt and believed that he was led by God to go into the inner city of Chicago, like the south side of Chicago. Like the south side of Chicago is like it's a danger zone, right? There are a lot of danger zones around the world, but the inner city of Chicago, the south side of Chicago, is a danger zone, and he feels led to go and minister, to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ on the south side of Chicago. A 17-year-old white male, he would go every summer because he heard, he received, and he understood the mission. And so that is basically what Jesus is actually saying. That God is actually saying to Paul right now. He's telling Paul, go to Damascus. I'm going to give you all the instructions that you need to carry out the mission that I'm going to require of you. And the thing that we need to realize and understand as believers, God has a mission for us. But the thing about it is, believe who he say he is, and understand and know that it's true for you to follow through. All right? The second qualification to be used by God is to be willing to obey what he asks you to do. This is pretty incredible that God will use a guy like Saul, who was notorious, who was notorious for killing Christians. Be willing to obey what he asks you to do. Saul was willing, despite he lived his life in such a way that in this moment of clarity, he felt that he needed to obey. Everything that he thought was a lie. Everything that he opposed, that he thought was a lie, was reality. But then he had this moment of clarity. And through this moment of clarity on the road to Damascus, he knew he had to change the game. He had to change his approach. And so when you think about your life right now and all that God will actually have for you, you can only fulfill that if you be obedient to his word. Hear what I'm saying? To be obedient. To understand and know that he has a specific design, purpose, and mission for each and every one of you. But to be obedient, to abide, to trust and know that he's with you in all that you do, to fulfill whatever it is he will put before you as an individual. And that's my approach. And that is our approach in regards to those youth that we minister, that we encourage, that we challenge, that we charge to be all that God has called them to be, because it's about having an open heart and open ears to hear what it is that God will actually have for you, but then challenge yourself to be obedient to his word, to challenge yourself to be obedient to his instructions, to challenge yourself to be obedient to the roadmap and the plan that he will actually have for your life. Because there's a great deal of work that needs to be done. And I know right now that we're all dealing with this global pandemic. But think about this for a moment. As much time as we've actually had at home being quarantined, has God been trying to reach out to you? Has he been trying to talk and connect with you? And you haven't been willing. He's calling you. John. Brenda. Marcus. Lil Weezy. Shaquita. Done. Can you hear? Are you open to receive? This could be your moment. This could be your time. When you think about life, God gives us free will. And free will is the ability to make our own choices and decisions as individuals. But when you think about free will really isn't as free until you make a greater decision. If you make a decision to receive Christ, to understand and know he could be a light, a guide, and a rock in your life, it's so much more that you can do with your freedom. So if you're tuning in today and you feel led to make a decision for Christ, where you want to make a decision to surrender, to give your all unto him, because you may recognize at this moment that he has a specific purpose and mission for you. But you can't fulfill the mission and purpose for him until you believe. And you can only believe when you surrender and make a decision to give your all to Jesus Christ. Because Paul, he doubted when he was Saul. He didn't believe. He was just like, whatever. But then he had this moment of clarity, where he knew everything that he had believed to be true was a lie. And everything that he opposed, that he thought was a lie, was truth. And if you're in that place and space where you have your mindset on one thing, but it's been a sense of false hope, today is about you realizing and understanding you can flip the script. And you can flip the script by giving life to Christ. So if you feel led to give your life to Christ for the very first time, this could be your moment and this could be your time. All you got to do is say yes and let your yes mean something. Or maybe you're here today and you feel led to rededicate or recommit your life to Christ. It's not too late. So if you would like to rededicate or recommit your life to Christ, this can be your moment and your time. Or even if you feel led to be a part of the church membership here at the Church Without Walls, and you would like to join this ministry, as a church, as a ministry, and as a team, we're here to receive you. So if you feel led to give your life to Christ, rededicate or recommit your life to Christ, or be a part of the church membership, know that we're here to receive you. And what I would like you to do is go to our website, churchwithoutwalls.org. Go to the guest tab. Click receive Christ, accept Christ, okay, or join church. You can hit either one of those tabs and somebody from our assimilation team will connect and engage with you to get you involved to be a part of this church. And if you made one of those decisions, we celebrate you. We give you a virtual hand clap, a virtual hug, a virtual round of applause for you making an awesome decision to change your life. Because God has designed you to be great, but you have to be willing to receive and hear what it is that he will actually have for you. I'm just grateful and thankful that you all tuned in today to be a part of this awesome experience. And what we're about to get ready to do right now, we're actually going to go into our post segment, Post Ignite Sunday Live. We're going to have a quick dialogue and discussion with one of our youth to get that direct feedback about this message. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, thanks for staying tuned for the Ignite Post segment. Right now, we actually have one of our youth in the house. He's in the house virtually. We got my man, Nana. Nana, you're joining us virtually, man, for the Ignite Post segment. How you feeling today, man? You good?
I'm feeling good. Thank you.
You look good. You feel good. You smelling good?
Yes.
Make sure you're smelling good, bro. All right, good deal. Hey, man, thanks for joining us, man, as we kicked off this Can You Hear Me Now series. And so when you think about the message, man, what's one of your takeaways from the message based on what you heard today?
One of my takeaways is that God calls you to serve. He can call you in many ways, through people, through events, or he can put in your heart. But when he calls you to serve, he'll prepare you to do his work.
Man, that's awesome, man. So with God calling everybody to serve, just a quick question before we get ready to, close everything out here shortly. Is there anything in particular that God's actually called for you in your life that you feel or believe?
Well, at the current moment, I feel that he's put in my heart to do my best to serve the church and make an impact. So I try to get involved in the church as much as possible, and I've tried to spend as much time at him, reading my Bible and praying.
Man, that's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that information, Nana. So here it is. However much you can actually serve the church, that's what you're willing to do. And so what grade are you going to right now, Nana?
Well, I'm doing the Bible study on Tuesday. I'm doing the devotion on Thursday, and I'm a part of the post segment today.
Okay, so you're already doing like at least 3 to 4 things weekly virtually with us, which is really awesome. So tell me and tell the audience, what grade are you going to this upcoming school year?
I'm going to the 8th grade.
So then here it is. We have Nana. He's an 8th grader, right? He's going to the 8th grade. He's working with us virtually, at least on 3 to 4 different programs weekly to use his impact to make a difference in the world that we live in. And I think you also be in tune to that as well. I remember you and I were about to do a segment a couple of weeks ago, and you were sick. You know what I mean? You had some stomach issues going on, and you did not want to get off the call because you felt that you would let the church down, and you were having like stomach issues. But I said, nah, man, dude, go take care of the business with your stomach and everything, and we can do it next week. But it really speaks to how intentional that you are in regards to serving, in regards to honoring God and all he's called you to do, man. So we really champion you, man, for being a participant, man, with serving in this ministry, even though it's virtually right now. Hey, one last thing to the audience. If there was one thing that you would say to the youth that are viewing in today in regards to the series, can you hear me now? What is one thing you would tell them or challenge them or let them know to the youth that are tuning in today?
One thing I would tell them or challenge them is to try to hear what God is saying. He can speak through multiple ways, and try to do your best to serve him. You might be young, but you can still help and you can still make an impact.
He said you may be young, but you can still help and you can still make an impact. Hey, everybody, man, really just thanks again for tuning in. And thanks again, man, for serving and supporting today, man, for the Post Ignite virtual segment, man. We appreciate you and your service. And thank you all for tuning in as well on the other side of the camera, connecting with us virtually. We want to let you know we're here to serve and support you any way that we can. We'll be right back on next week. So as we close it out, let's receive the benediction from our pastor, a.k.a. the Big Aristotle, the Big Belichick, Dr. Ralph Douglas West.
Look this way, I want to bless you as we prepare to go into the world as salt and light. And didn't we have a marvelous worship experience today? We are so fortunate to live in an age where we have this kind of technology, where we can bring the gospel of Jesus Christ into your home. In fact, a theme we can use is bring God's house to your house. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face smile upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift the light of his countenance on you and grant you his peace. And may the Lord bless you when you go out and come in, when you rise up early and settle late, in your labor and in your leisure, in your laughter and in your tears, until that day when we shall stand at the feet of Jesus, where there's no sunrise or sunset. Be encouraged.